Ayy, give me the chip, I need the championship. Wait, we got a drink next to the team, yeah, we can handle it. Wait, soon as I go and I step in arenas, they call me the champ. They know what it is, know what I do, know who I am, who don't understand. Yeah, that's overdue. My trophy say that's overdue. My ring, finna be immortalized. Yeah, they know it's true. They couldn't walk a mile of here.
Hey, good morning, folks. Chris Harris here. Another episode of Bucksply Sports Podcast. Welcome in. This is our Friday night recap, the morning after podcast. And we want to give a shout out to our sponsor. Our sponsor for today's podcast is Austin Brinkley, North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance Agent. Life comes at you with unexpected twists, but peace of mind doesn't have to be complicated. Whether it's home, auto, life, renters, insurance, Austin Brinkley is here to help find coverage tailored to your needs. With personalized service, reliable guidance, and trusted protection, Austin helps you safeguard your family, your future, your finances. So give Austin a call today at 910-290-4250 for your no obligation quote, because life happens and it pays to be prepared. So once again, that's Austin Brinkley, North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance Agent, located right there in Duplin County at 408 North Main Street, Kenansville, North Carolina. And we want to thank Austin for sponsoring this podcast. Once again, folks, good morning, good morning, good morning. Appreciate everyone joining me this morning as we recap our games from last night, including our Bucksply Sports game of the week, James Keenan versus East Duplin. Good night for a lot of our local teams. Some critics were silenced last night for some, and for others, the critics going to get a little bit louder. But we'll go ahead and get into it once again. Like always, man, feel free to ask any questions, comments, anything that we're talking about. Real quick, but let's see if I make sure we get all the. And we're live on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So, like I said, man, just feel free to any comments you guys have. Please feel free to engage in the chat there. We'll start off right away with that Bucksply Sports game of the week, James Keenan and East Duplin. I'm trying to find my what's my comments at? Yeah, big time matchup. James Keenan East Duplin, big time rivalry game. James Keenan really jumped out on him early on. Looked like it was a threat of being a blowout once James Keenan got up 21-0, really showcasing that just their talent and just one thing that really stood out to me, man, just their team speed, man. I know I'm watching on video, but I'm pretty sure even in person you could tell it looks just outstanding team speed on both sides of the ball. So many athletes on both sides of the ball. Great line play. Just really came out the gates and played it really strong. Like I said, got up 21-0. But once again, man, shout out to East Duplin. East Duplin, just that the type of program they are, the type of coaching that they have, the kids they have on over there, and the biggest part, just the culture. A lot of teams that we're going to talk about later on in the show would have just laid down and pretty much gave up, but East Duplin fought back to make it a one-score game, and just unfortunately just didn't have enough in the tank to come away with the victory, which James Keenan ended up winning up 27-21. But just an overall great performance by both teams. Like I said, I know there's East Duplin. They're going to be looking at the film and some of those turnovers there, wishing they could had back. Same thing for James Keenan. But both, if you're a fan of either team, you're walking away from this game You're feeling pretty good, man. Like I said, if you're East Duplin, of course you would have loved to win, but like I said, you got to be proud of, like I said, your kids is a fight and how resilient they were to, like I said, continue to come back against like I said, a really good James Keenan team. And I real quick, I want to give just send just thoughts and prayers to the young man that was injured for East Duplin last night. Not aware of his status or anything, but hopefully he's doing good. Nothing too serious. So if any East Duplin fans know the young man's name, let me know and how he's doing. But hopefully everything's good with him. But overall, man, just a really great football game. Very entertaining to watch. I'll have my players of the game later on this week. I want to go back and check it out one more time before I make that decision. But like I said, man, just a number of different just a huge amount of talent on the field for both teams, and yeah, just a great game, man. So like I said, both those teams, I could definitely see them representing their classifications, and possibly with a chance to go to a state championship game later on this season. Like I said, both teams are very talented, very well coached, and just they're definitely and they passed they passed that eye test. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Angelo Finney in the chat. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get to them, man. Shout out to the Pender Patriots. That's one of the teams that I talked about as far as silencing critics. There was a lot of chatter in the coming up to this game against Wallace, and I know there's a lot of questions about Pender, and they definitely stood up and answered some of them last night. And for Wallace, there was questions about, okay, are they finally getting it together? And I guess now the critics they're just going to run the criticism is going to remain as far as that goes. But I'm gonna get a little bit deeper into that game in a second. But real quick, I just wanted to pull up our scoreboard from last night for the games that we featured. As you see, we already talked about the James Keenan East Duplin matchup. That was our game of the week. Of course, you see Union coming away with 34-0 win over Camp Lejeune. Kind of surprised in this one. South Johnston taking down Midway 14-12. Not so much, nothing against South Johnston. Not so much that they won the game, but how low scoring it was. The fact that they were able to hold Midway to only 12 points, so that really must speaks highly of the defense they have over there in South Johnston. Because I really didn't see too many teams or foresee too many teams being able to slow Midway's offense down the way they did. So shout out to South Johnston, but yeah, definitely a surprise in that one. Shout out to Hopkins, Coach Anthony Goodman. I'm sure he's somewhere listening if he doesn't if he's not trying to hop on or anything. But that was a big one for Hopkins. Like he talked about this week, rivalry. That's an underrated rivalry out that way. And for Hopkins coming away with their first win of the season. First win for Coach Adam Scrons, as head coach out there. Coming away with a 44-18 victory over Rosewood. That's big time. This next one kind of surprised me a little bit too, man. Going into the game, I thought this would be pretty much a kind of a walkthrough for Lakewood. I didn't really see too much out of Fairmont, a program that's really kind of struggled over the past couple of years. But Fairmont gave them the game, and it took some late game heroics from Calvin Lacewell in that Lakewood offense to finally secure the victory. And as you see right there, a 2-point conversion there at the end for Lakewood to go ahead and win 15-14. But shout out to Fairmont, man. That's the definition of any given Friday night, and not taking anyone. Got to take everyone seriously. And shout out to Coach Goodman. Coach Goodman kind of called this one. He said this could possibly be a trap game. Maybe Lakewood looking forward, a week ahead because they got a big one next week, starting conference play against North Duplin. Maybe we kind of overlooked them a little bit, but shout out to Fairmont. That was a great effort, and shout out to Lakewood for being resilient and coming in and getting your stuff together. Just not taking that L. This next one, East Bladen defeating Clinton 26-20. East Bladen was down 13-0 and cranked off 26 unanswered points, and ultimately was able to hold on to the lead and win a big one over the rival Dark Horses. That's their first victory over Clinton since the 2017 season, I believe it was. So yeah, shout out to East Blaine. That's a big time victory for them. Moving on, High Point Christian defeated Harrows 56-35 in the matchup of unbeaten teams. Looked like defense definitely took a night off for both teams. We just in there was that over 90 points combined there. And there we go. Pender taking down Wallace Rose Hill 32-26 in overtime. Like I said, man, Pender, like I said, there was a lot of people talking in the chat, kind of doubting Pender, and like I said, I felt good about him. I like what I've seen from him so far. I like the identity that they established on offense. I mean, post Jeremiah Johnson, they really come at you with a lot of different talented running backs and a very talented dual threat quarterback, solid line play, solid coaching. And you saw that on display last night as they come away for a really tough and gritty win over what we're still trying to figure out what type of Wallace Rose Hill team this is. Definitely having their early season struggles. Next, we got North Dublin taking down Jones Senior. So they go there. They improved to 4-0. Like I was talking to Anthony, I sent Anthony a message earlier. My only issue so far, as for I like I said, I know North Dublin's a talented team, and they're going to be definitely one of the front runners in that conference. The only thing I would worry about for them right now is the fact that they have not even been close to being tested yet through their first 4 games, and not so much because of just how talented they are, but you got to look at how lackluster the teams they played have been. I mean, I understand, when it comes to non-conference schedule, it's a two-way street. You gotta, you could want to schedule, whoever, but they gotta want to schedule you in return. So you got to play who wants to play you. But their combined through these first 4 games, their combined opponents' records are 1-15. So the only team they played that has had a win so far this season is a 1-3 Southside team. So they really don't know what you got right there. You haven't really been pushed any so far this season. So that's the one thing I would be a little concerned about as far as they go. I mean, I understand that's a talented group. They're extremely talented, but just not being pushed so far, we still don't know exactly. As a coach, you still don't know exactly what you got out there. Until you get pushed. So, and that's hoping that's happening next week. As far as we got a big time Carolina Conference game versus Lakewood coming up. Uh, Moving on to we got Jack Britt taking down Terry Sanford. That looked like that was a really good game. Guys really going back and forth. Terry Sanford kind of had to fight their way back into it from what I was reading on the updates. But shout out to Jack Britt. That's a big time win for them. 71st took down Hope County 32-15. Purnell Sweat took down Red Springs 14-12 in overtime. St. Paul's over North Brunswick 35-33. White Oak defeated Kinston and on the last play of the game, from what I was reading. So that had to be a heartbreaker for Kinston. That's really the second game they've lost here in early season, right there at the last, right there towards the end of the game. So that's got to be a tough one. Trash got back on track this week. Total domination over West Bladen, 44-6. Marlboro County, excuse me, I'm gonna skip Tarboro. Tarboro defeated Southwest Edgecombe in a 14-0 game. That was it was actually called early, from what I've been reading. It was called early due to some gunfire at the game. I'm not sure if anyone got injured, but I mean, just stuff that you hate to see, a great football game ruined by, just ignorance. Like I said, we talked about this stuff before up here, man. There's no place for that, man. The football, sports in general, especially football games, they're a place for, a lot of young people a lot of kids are out here, families just looking to, enjoy the sport, you know, with so much going on in the world today, sports are, they're an escape, for the all the craziness going on in the outside. You know, and we see it on the news every day. So you just want to go to the game, enjoy the game for a little while, watch your kid play, watch your school play, and just enjoy yourself. And it's just no need for that type of ignorance and stuff going on. So I hate that a great football game was ruined by such a horrible event, and hopefully no one was injured in the process. But you hate to see stuff like that. Um, Real quick, I'm not trying to ignore the chat, man. I was just trying to run through the scoreboard, but I got y'all in a second. Um, Marlboro County defeating Conway 12-10. 3 seconds left in the game, and Trey Blankley scored the game-winning touchdown. Shout out to AB Anthony Berry down there. We talked about this during the week, man. I was like, I understand Conway's 0-3, but I see that they played a good game against Wilson, a Wilson team that knocked off Dillon. So I didn't think it would be so much a walkthrough, but I didn't expect it to be that close, man. So, but shout out to Marlboro County for being able to pull that out, man. Super sophomore Trey Blanky getting into the end zone right there at the end for the win. And I know there was some sweaty palms for the Bulldog faithful out there last night. Hoggard continues to rolling over Panther Creek 40-7. Another South Carolina game. Loris defeating North Myrtle Beach 53-14, and Whiteville handling business in the swamp, taking down East Columbus 44-0. But that was our scoreboard for all our featured games. So let me get to the chat here, man. I didn't want to ignore anybody in the chat. Real quick, let me scroll back up here. Let's see. Perry T. Hayer, appreciate you for listening in. He said those Vikings at Hoggard keep chugging along. Yes, sir. They're doing their thing. Bill Chavis, shout out to Bill Chavis, St. Paul's dog. Ball McBride, y'all 390 yards rushing last night, 5 touchdowns. Oh, that's definitely definitely a good night for that young man. That's awesome. Let me see. There you go, Melvin. Cleveland over. Cleveland took down New Bern 46-6. So that's crazy because we know how good New Bern is, and for Cleveland to put a running clock on them, that just Cleveland. They're different. Let's see, keep it going. We got Jeff Dale, but it's a great day to be a Patriot. Yes, sir. That's once again, shout out to Pender County, a big time win over Wallace last night. Shout out Logan Dawson. How's it going, guys? We good, man. We good. Appreciate you listening. Uh, but yeah, once again, man, definitely feel free to engage with us in the chat. Any questions you guys have, any observations y'all have from last night, and once again, like others are doing, man, shout out to school for a job well done last night. A lot of great games, and it just goes to show, man, we're approaching the halfway point of the season, and it's still a lot of parity out there, man. You see a couple of teams that are kind of really starting to separate themselves, but there's still this big muddle right here in the middle where, I mean, it's anybody's game. Like I said, we look at Fairmont giving Lakewood a game. Look at Conway giving Marlboro County a game. So it just goes to show, man, you can't look at South Johnson taking down Midway. So you can't really sleep on anybody, man. You got to come to play every Friday night, and a lot of teams are going to be stepping into conference play this coming up week. Some other teams still got another week of non-conference play, but you're really starting. It's a lot of great competition out here, man. Like I said, you can't really sleep on nobody, and we definitely found that out last night. But any games that you want me to elaborate on further, let me know in the chat. But I know me personally, I gotta. Well, I'm trying not to. I told myself last night I ain't gonna crash out, man, because for all my OG followers that have been, with me for a while, they know last year around February, we had a big, major event in Clinton as far as the, changes in the football program, And I'll say about a hour and a half video, kind of my little rant after the news dropped, and it made a lot of people unhappy. But I'm a lot of if you go back and watch that video, man, a lot of stuff I said it's definitely come to fruition. I mean, um, a lot of the red flags I noticed after the jamboree that everyone told me I was overreacting. Look, like I said, I'm not gonna crash out. I'm not gonna. And when people are ready to have an honest conversation about what the issue is with Clinton football, I'll definitely take the time and really dive into it. But right now, I still don't think people are ready. People are still making excuses. People, quite frankly, some people are just delusional. Like I said, all those people that were coming at me, after the jamboree and after the Lakewood win, that they made it seem like everything, all the problems and the red flags are gone. They haven't been back since, and I wonder why. I mean, yeah, look, see, even Mr. Melvin in the chat said, yeah, he's never seen Clinton like this. It's been a long time. It's been a long time, and quite frankly, we did it to ourselves. But it's funny. I was talking to old coworker of mine down here. He's been coaching youth sports down here, and just involved in some a lot of the high schools down here for a while. And we were talking about just some of the issues I've seen. And he was like, man, what it sounds like, man, it sounds like y'all need a fresh face to come into the program, a youthful coach with a lot of energy and someone to really rejuvenate the program, and get a players coach, someone that can really just like I said, just rejuvenate the program. And I started laughing. I started laughing. He was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, we had that guy, man. We and we ran him out of town." But it is what it is, man. But like I said, when people are ready to have an honest conversation about the issues going on, like I said, I definitely don't mind speaking on it. And like I said, it's a lot of issues. Definitely a culture thing. It's definitely a coaching thing. But like I said, I'm not gonna get into it. Let's see. Real quick, back to the chat. Toy Steve. Shout out to Toy Steve for listening in. Yeah, we speaking on James Keenan, man. Like I said, just one thing. The first thing that stood out to me, every time I watched him so far, just the team speed, man. Sideline to sideline, um, on both sides of the ball, just extremely athletes all over the field. So I'm trying to check the comments. But yeah, just a ton of athletes on the field. Great coaching. Just a very, I guess what the word, I guess what tenacious. Just very aggressive. Um, yeah, they just no quit in them, man. They come at you for 4 quarters, and they're tough. They're tough. They're a tough team to deal with, man. That's why, like I said, one of the biggest issues in the game last night, East Duplin, man, turn the ball, those turnovers. Yeah, you can't have those type of turnovers against that team, man, because they just feed off of it. And um, just a ton of talent, man. They're gonna go far. I'll be extremely surprised if they're not one of the last teams standing in, as far as that classification goes. And once again, like I said, I can't compliment James Keenan without complimenting East Duplin's resiliency last night really stood out to me because, like I said, a program that I've just talked about. You know, that's when the culture and the coaching comes into play, where you're down 21 points, and it's easy for guys just to hang their heads and roll over. East Duplin kept fighting, and they got themselves back in the game. Slowly but surely, they got themselves back in the game. Right now, it's a program that I support that we ain't hitting on stuff like that right now. And like I said, it's a culture thing. And then where this culture starts up top. like I said, it's some things that need to be changed around here. But like I said, we still got a lot of delusional folks out here. So yes, East Bladen did play. You shot at Bladen County Sports. East Bladen played a great game. Great. I mean, like I said, down 13-0, they could have easily rolled over, but they continue to, they continue to fight. They capitalized off Clinton's mistakes. I mean, rattled off 26 unanswered points. Uh, I came in really focused on the bigger back, Deshaun Campbell, but the sophomore Lewis really impressed me last night. Kids got great speed. I mean, that 75, 77-yard touchdown run really broke the game open. I believe he had 182 yards and 3 touchdowns last night. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like I said, that they like I said down 13 points. They could have rolled over, but they fought back, cranked off 26 unanswered, and ultimately made the plays at the end of the game to come away with the victory. So shout out to them, and shout out to Coach Priest. Like I said, their first victory over Clinton since 2017 season. Um, One thing I will say for East Blake, man, sometimes the simplest answer is the best. For y'all, I wouldn't even, obviously the passing game just isn't really, clicking like that. It's not there. Um, y'all best bet, just keep it simple, man. When y'all kept it simple, y'all did a lot better. I thought sometimes y'all got a little bit too cute, especially on like the 2 point conversion attempts. And like I said, the passing game ain't really there. Just run it, just run the ball, man. That's what's gonna make it work for y'all. Uh, what's going down there in Havelock, and I have no idea what's up with Havelock. Like I said, I feel like it's just they graduated a lot last year, and I feel like it's just a rebuilding. We're not used to seeing teams like that go through rebuilding years, but it's just kind of like a rebuilding year for them. And I've read stuff in the past where there's a lot of admin stuff going on at a lot of those schools in Craven County. So I don't know if that's an issue going on, as well behind the scenes. But yeah, just I feel like just a down year for them. Any more, any more comments, questions, concerns? Uh, I just want to give just a friendly reminder, y'all, that we'll have our week 5 preview show coming up on Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Timmy Williams, shout out to him. He said, "Yeah, I told you Rosewood's going down." Hey, that's a big time victory for Hopton, man, y'all. Like I said, glad to see y'all get that. Y'all finally got that monkey off y'all back. Coach Scroggs getting his first victory of the season, and look like y'all definitely handled business. Let's say 44-18. That's a big time win for y'all. Like I said, man, we got our week 5 preview show coming on Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Hopefully, the whole crew will be able to join us, and we'll be talking about these week 5 matchups and um, any suggestions for game of the week next week. Please feel free to send me some suggestions. I got a couple games in mind. Like I said, there's a big one in that Carolina two-way conference that's going down next week in Salemburg, and I know that's it was a really heated matchup last year. A lot of feelings, a lot of emotions in that one last season, both matchups. So that should be a good one. Of course, I'll look at some other games around the area and we'll see who's going to be the Bus Sweet Sports Game of the Week for week 5. But like I said, any suggestions, please feel free. Uh, not football related, but who's watching that? Who y'all got in the fight? Any boxing fans? Who y'all got in that fight tonight? Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Crawford. Who y'all got tonight? If we got any boxing fans in the chat? Any other games? Any other teams? Questions, comments before we before I start to kind of wind things down. We got that's college football today. My Tar Heels taking on Richmond. That should be a W for us. We'll beat the lesser teams, but I still don't, even beating Charlotte last week. You know it didn't look anything special, but it's a process, man. So we'll keep on rolling around. I see us getting a W today. I think another good one's going to be who else is playing? Tennessee and Georgia. That should be a good one. Oh, if you're for Wallace Rose Hill fans, man, Ohio's taking on Ohio State today. Irvin Brown's up there in Ohio, so uh, definitely gonna be checking that one out. Let's see, y'all said we got Crawford. Everybody, y'all going with Crawford tonight? Okay. I just hope it's better than the last boxing special that came on Netflix. I can't remember the girl's name, man. It was a horrible fight though. It was horrible. The undercards were better than the main event. I just yeah, I was glad it was on Netflix because I said, man, if I would have to pay for this, I'll be livid right now. Let's see. Tony Hamilton said Hartville versus Dylan. What's going on with Dylan this year, man? Dylan down because for them to not used to seeing them. What are they 1-2 at this point in the season? As I was asking Anthony about that after they lost to Wilson. Just didn't know what's going on with them down there. I know Loris is looking strong in that area, so that should be for my Marlboro County fans. That's going to be a tough one whenever they have to play that one. But I was a little curious about Dylan. Well, we're gonna start winding things down. Like I said before, man. Any information about big time player performances? Definitely send them to my inbox. I'd love to shout the kids out. Definitely gonna have to shout out the running back from McBride from St. Paul. That's a big time game last night. 390 for 5 touchdowns. That's big. I know y'all saw. I know y'all saw kid from Princeton, Theo McFadder. He's been putting up ridiculous numbers the last couple of weeks. He's well on pace to pass that 2,000 yard threshold for the season. Um, yeah, a lot of talented kids out here, man. I can't. I'm only one man, so I need your help. So if you know a notable performance, send me the school, send me the stats, and I'll definitely give them a shout out on the page. Like I said, want to give much attention to these kids out east as we can. Like I said, man, I feel like the West gets enough attention, so we're trying to give our guys out east some shine. So any big time performances, please send them to me, and I'll be sure to try to shout them out. That's any film you have, videos y'all took, definitely appreciate it. Tony Hamilton said they're young. Yeah, that's the sense I was getting, man. Like I said, just a little young. Yeah, definitely not used to seeing a program like that kind of struggle this early. But shout out to you. Appreciate the response. But I'm gonna go ahead and start to sign off here. But I appreciate everyone listening in. Once again, got to give a shout out to our sponsor, Austin Brinkley, State North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance Agent. Definitely, if you need insurance in that Duplin County area, any of the surrounding areas, man, give them a call, 910-290-4250. You save money when you bundle. He gives at no cost any consultations. Just trying to figure out the best plan for you, your family, your situations. Like I said, he's a big time supporter of local team. James Keenan supports the podcast, so let's go out and try to support him. Like I said, support those who support you. He's pouring into the community, so let's pour into him. So give Austin a call for if you're in any type of insurance. Once again, man, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. But once again, appreciate everyone for listening in. Enjoy the rest of y'all Saturday. Check out some of this college football. A lot of great games. If you're a boxing fan, big time fight tonight. It's on Netflix. So if you got, I'm sure we all either got Netflix or know somebody got Netflix. You ain't got to really, splurge on no pay per view or anything like that. But it should be a good one, man. Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, and probably be some really good undercard fights as well. If you're a boxing fan. Hope everyone enjoys the rest of their week. We'll be back here Wednesday, 7 o'clock, for our Week 5 preview show. Be on the lookout for my Buck Sweet Sports players of the game for this James Kenney East Duplin game from last night, and also be on the lookout for who we select for our Buck Sweet Sports game of the week. Like I said, send me some suggestions. Definitely looking to take into consideration. But once again, man, appreciate everyone listening in. Chris Harris signing off, Buck Sweet Sports Podcast.